This is the kind of stuff you can't really get a good idea of till you get out here. I have found that these creeks, and I know everybody generally has knowledge about deer bedding on them, but I'm telling you, they will walk up and down and bed right here on the banks. And a lot of times this stuff is so hard to see, even though I'm elevated. I bet I could get off down in there just a few more feet and learn even more. That's what I think a lot of guys don't. It's that you hear about detail, that's it right there. It's the few extra feet you think you know until you get down in here and you're like, oh shit, there's actually a trail that runs through here. You would think you could see it, and a lot of times, I'm not even say sometimes, a lot of the times you can't. And what happens is guys come up here and they look down here and they say, oh yeah, well, nothing here. And that's how Big Boy keeps on living. You have to forget that you think you know everything. Like there's a little rub. I say little, I mean it goes up pretty high. But see up here on top of this bank. But when you get down in here in the details, it's just like anything. People, animals, all relatively the same. People in general will do the same thing, but it's the little nuances that make us all different. It's the same thing with each individual area. Even little areas within areas. They're gonna travel and move differently over in this little spot. And 100 yards away, they could be completely different. See over there where I just came through, big grown up field. Really nice, which obviously caught my attention. For one, you got to get back up in here, and you got to kind of walk and go through some shit to get here. But look there, look at that trail going up right through there. That's another thing. If I would have waited to come out here, I probably wouldn't have seen it. There's a rub. Now, see, look at that track. Some pretty big tracks. Now, what I can do is you start putting all this stuff together, okay? You know, something else I'm sitting here thinking is, look how high this bank is. A deer literally cannot cross that. Now, deer can do a lot of things that will blow our minds. And even mine, I say our, because even my mind, and I know deer are capable of jumping extremely high, 10 feet, all kinds of crazy shit. But they will even surprise people that have a little bit more knowledge than most with the stuff they can traverse. But they are not going to go up and down that, period. That is straight vertical, 30 feet. So I instantly see that and think, oh, pinch point. Because I'm going to follow this until it starts to slope down somewhere. And I'm going to start looking for where deer are coming from that side to this side. Because that right there is going to cause it's going to funnel the deer, right? It's going to funnel the deer movement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for big old tracks. Okay? A pretty big track. They definitely come up in through here. I bet either to get a drink, or I bet it looks like the ground kind of starts sloping over there. It doesn't have to be a big slope either. They may cross through here. I don't know. But if I start finding some sign of what looks to be a big deer in here, now I can start putting these puzzle pieces together. That's what you do when you're scouting. You just keep an open mind. You try to learn from your mistakes. And I say mistakes, but really it's all positive, all learning experience. But when I say mistake, I mean, you know, several years ago, I would have just been walking aimlessly out in the woods. But I've done this enough to where now I'm starting to put myself, I'm being a little bit more efficient with my time. And I'm going to check these spots that deer, like I said, like people, generally are the same, right? And so they're generally going to bed in the same type of area. It's those little things in the area that matter on killing the deer and on getting pictures of them and trying to figure out what's actually there. But generally, you can look at topos and aerial views, and you can come out to spots like this and be more efficient with your time. Get out here, look, find the tracks, find pinch points. You know, I'm not going to pay attention to know I walked through a massive trail to get out here through this field. But I'm not, these deer can travel anywhere they want out through there. Just because there's a big trail, it looks like who knows how many big trails go through this thing. I'm not going to put a camera up out there. I'm going to put a camera up where it's going to be a whole lot less likely that a deer is going to skirt around that position where I've pointed that camera. And so I'm going to have a much better chance of getting a picture of all the deer that come through there. And if a big buck is in your area and you put enough cameras in those big time pinch points, then you are going to figure out pretty quick if that's a spot that you want to focus more on. Now, those big trails that are running through there, I can focus on them if I start getting pictures of a buck that I want to go after over in this area. Then that's when stuff like that matters. Then you can start then you can start bringing your cameras in and spreading them out and further out from them pinch points. That is if you can't hunt the pinch point, or if you're getting pictures of them later at night, you know, and you're trying to find the right trails and locate where his daytime stuff is. But we just need to know if there's a big buck in here. That's all we need to know. That's all we're trying to figure out. Because if there's not, then we won't spend any more time in here. This already looks, I mean, I love creek bottoms. And this is all about bow hunting. You've got to get away from gun hunting if you want to kill a big old buck consistently, in my opinion anyways. Because a lot of guys aren't bow hunting, even with crossbows. And a lot of guys dumb this down, or they oversimplify it. Sorry, they oversimplify it. They make it more complicated than it has to be. I don't need 1,000 yards to kill a deer. I need the bare minimum. I mean, hell, most of the deer I've killed is within 20 yards. And that's with a freaking gun. I hunt a lot of thick stuff, just always have. You can see where they bed right up in here. Just classically, just like you always hear, log to their back, most likely. Escape routes, all that. But anyways, you want to you don't have to freaking hunt some big wide open area to kill a deer. You just don't. And so a lot of guys will come in here and be like, oh, it's too thick. Why? If you got enough space to freaking put an arrow, a projectile in a deer, you get there. You figure out how to do it. If you got to hunt off the ground, freaking hunt off the ground. I mean, guys it doesn't have, your whole goal is killing that animal, period. It doesn't have to be a movie scene. So anyways, You know, a lot of this is preaching to myself. I got to remind myself not to freaking complicate this stuff. The complicating part about it is stuff you will never have control over. The complicated stuff about it and that stuff that you can't control is knowing what property holds a buck of your lifetime. You there, branch broke, most likely from a buck coming through here on this trail I'm walking down. But that's the complicated part. You don't know. You will never know just off of looking at an aerial. No matter how good it looks, you just never know. That's the complicated part. And guess what? You're never gonna know until you get out there and look. But you can take care of everything else. It's a freaking animal, guys. Like, there's a reason we're hunting them and they're not hunting us. So just try to get outside of your box. If you're stuck in a thought process, get outside of it. And literally, sometimes you just got to go scout an area that you would never have scouted. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see something because you never scout that type of area. You're going to see something that you've never seen before. Or you're going to see something that makes you think about something differently. And that right there is how you get outside of your current box of thinking. Well, they definitely go right up in there in bed. Look how the grass is laid down compared to everything else. Just that little area. This is a hell of a trail right here. See, if I get some cameras up in here and get some pictures, I will definitely know that this is a spot to key in on. No freaking doubt about it. And I really don't give a shit about rubs or any of that. I'm looking for big tracks and hopefully sheds. Something that says definitely, you cannot deny a big track. You cannot deny a big shed. So I love a big tree that's gnawed down to the core. Yes. But I don't see a whole lot of them just because this is public land and there's not a dominant buck. He's a dominant for a reason, and there's just not a whole lot of dominant bucks on public land. So they don't have to run around. At least that's what that's my thought process anyways, is that they don't have to run around marking everything up. They've beat ass enough that these other deer know what's up. They know exactly what's going on. Well, this looks like I don't know, it's pretty steep, but there's some some tracks definitely going up and down it. But well, that looks like I don't know. Well, looky there. Just found a weird little spot where something's been coming up. And then look at this. Look at that. You want to talk about a bed and a deer that would be really freaking hard to get to. This is it. Look at that. That's a rub now. I mean, that thing is pretty high up. That's a good sign, right? Look at me, I just talk about rubs. I'm sitting here docking at one. But look at this trail going through there. It's kind of hard. I don't know if you can pick these up, but right on the edge, right on the edge. See, I know, if I walk over there in them open woods, it's not really open, but just on the other side of this isn't going to be there, guaranteed. And see, I know that, so I can be more efficient with my time. I can walk through here, see what I see, and I don't have to circle back around. So used to, I'd have to circle back around and go back up through here just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I know the best place for them to travel through here is right here. So when I get up past this, I just keep on going. I don't have to walk back over this way now and spend more of my time, right? I've learned that. Jeez, there's another, I can see the bark freaking. Look at that. Now, boy, if you could get up in here, look at that tree right over there. Boom. I mean, if you could come up in off the creek, oh boy. See, I think that's public over there too. Think I won't come rappelling off that damn bank. You got me all kinds of messed up. So anyways, I gotta get off here. I will come back here in a little bit, add some more to these videos, but looking good, real good here in Oklahoma. Boomer.